The success of mRNA vaccines was one of the few positives to come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. And that could just be the beginning of what researchers and scientists are calling the RNA revolution, with the hope that RNA technology can help with the treatment of a whole host of other diseases. I'm joined by PALL THORDARSON, Director of the UNSW Sydney's RNA Institute. Welcome, PALL. Thank you for joining us today on APAC Network. You've described the RNA revolution as part of the work on RNA vaccines. Can you tell us why?
Yeah, no, thank you. RNA is a fascinating technology, and there are many ways you can look at it and try to understand why is it going to change the world. I think maybe as I come from a chemistry background, and chemistry, of course, has given us many pharmaceuticals over the last 150 years. But RNA therapeutics is really a different type of therapeutic. It's more based on information content rather than just the structural content. So your typical aspirin molecule, whatever, is designed to fit in a particular slot somewhere in a protein inside a cell. Whereas with RNA, we are trying to influence the software of life, which is really RNA, right? And that's why RNA gives us so many different opportunities in terms of developing novel therapeutics or preventative medicine in the case of vaccines.
Can you talk more about the differences when it comes to the way that RNA works?
Yeah, so as I said, with conventional drug molecules, what you're normally trying to do is to, in most cases, stop something from happening. You put a blocker in that blocks an enzyme that's doing something we don't want it to happen, right? And occasionally it's the other way around. We want to activate our system. But with RNA, you can either deliver the message, like in messenger RNA, that tells the cell to make a certain protein. In the case of the vaccine, that's the protein that activates our immune system to start to recognize that infection. Or in the case of, for instance, silencing RNA technologies, it's a short piece of RNA that has the instructions to shut down the software to make the protein that's causing the disease. There are just two of the examples of things we can do with RNA therapeutics. And it is a very different way from conventional therapeutics. You can think of conventional therapeutic as basically like an on and off switch, whereas with RNA, really, you're sending a code into the system, a software code, to do something you want to happen.
Now, I understand you've done a lot of work when it comes to decoding RNA peptide protein interactions. Will you tell us more about that?
Yeah, and look, as a chemist, this is kind of how I came into the RNA field a few years ago as a scientific curiosity. I came across this work that is sort of slowly changing the view we have of RNA's roles in biology, that it's turning out that quite a lot of the RNA in our cells is what's called non-coding RNA. It doesn't code for proteins like mRNA. And the question was also, what is it doing there? Well, it looks like it has a lot of other functions, structural and sort of operational functions in the cell. And the way in which that happens is that the RNA interacts with all the proteins or with proteins in the cell. And it's this intricate sort of interactions, and again, you can think about almost like a software interaction between the RNA and the proteins in the cell that seems to control things like stress response, gene regulation, possibly even cell differentiation. Now, the thing is, we understand how the DNA code works, how, they got the triplet codons and they code for certain amino acids and whatnot. We don't really understand I would call the rule of play of how non-coding RNA and proteins and peptides interact. And because I come from this field, what's called supramolecular chemistry, where we try to understand how molecules interact with each other, I thought this was a really interesting program to start to look at. And this is what my fundamental science is really now driven by. We want to decode how RNA and peptide and RNA proteins interactions take place. Now, that will hopefully one day, and we're not there yet, give us yet another level of RNA therapeutics where we can control these interactions, because it looks like they could be really important in, as I said, cellular development. It's possible that these protein RNA interactions underpin also some very complex neurological conditions.